After September 11th, our world changed. Either we fight terrorists abroad or face them here. John Kerry and liberals in Congress have a different view. They opposed Reagan as he won the Cold War, voted against the first Gulf War, voted to slash intelligence after the first Trade Center attack, repeatedly opposed weapons vital to winning the war on terror. John Kerry and his liberal allies, are they a risk we can afford to take today?
I'm George W. Bush, and I approve this message. Major combat operations in Iraq have ended. The United States and our allies have prevailed. The economy is strong. The economy is getting better.
The Democratic National Committee is responsible for the content of this advertisement. President Bush and our leaders in Congress have a plan.
Enhance border and port security.
Increase homeland security measures.
Reform and strengthen intelligence services.
Renew the Patriot Act, giving law enforcement tools against terrorists.
Create a national counterterrorism center.
Transform our military.
Give the military all it needs.
Find terrorists where they train and hide.
Learn more
at agendaforamerica.com.
I'm George W. Bush, and I approve this message.
I have a specific plan to strengthen our economy and create jobs. It's based on 3 guiding principles. 1, to create jobs, we have to help small businesses, not get in their way. 2, the middle class needs help with a tax cut, lower health care costs. 3, I want an America that relies on its own ingenuity and innovation, not the Saudi royal family. Big plans for a stronger America. I'm John Kerry, and I approve this message.
My wife, Wendy, was murdered by terrorists on September 11th.
The Faulkner's daughter, Ashley, closed up emotionally. But when President George W. Bush came to Lebanon, Ohio, she went to see him, as she had with her mother 4 years before.
He walked toward me, and I said, Mr. President, this young lady lost her mother in a World Trade Center.
He turned around and came back and said, I know that's hard. Are you all right?
Our president took Ashley in his arms and just embraced her. And it was at that moment that we saw Ashley's eyes fill up with tears.
He's the most powerful man in the world, and all he wants to do is make sure I'm safe, that I'm okay.
What I saw was what I want to see in the heart and in the soul of the man who sits in the highest elected office in our country.
Progress for America Voter Fund is responsible for the content of this message.
No one can tell him he's wrong, even though there were no weapons of mass destruction. The deficit has never been higher. He's lost more jobs than any president in 75 years, and 1,000 American soldiers have died in a war poorly planned. But no one can tell him he's wrong. America can't afford 4 more years. The Democratic National Committee is responsible for the content of this advertisement.
I'm George W. Bush, and I approve this message.
It was the right decision to disarm Saddam Hussein, and when the president made the decision, I supported him.
I don't believe the president took us to war as he should have.
The winning of the war was brilliant.
It's the wrong war in the wrong place at the wrong time.
I have always said we may yet even find weapons of mass destruction.
I actually did vote for the $87 billion before I voted against it.
When congressional investigators issued their report on 9/11, there were 28 pages missing. 28 pages of evidence that the Saudi government funded the terrorists who killed nearly 3,000 Americans. Evidence kept secret under orders from George Bush. Was it to protect his Saudi friends? Or was Bush helping Jim Baker, a top advisor whose law firm is defending the Saudis in a lawsuit against the victims' families? Either way, Bush and the Saudis are too close for comfort. The media fund is responsible for the content of this ad.
For women's health, it's now an emergency. Our hospitals closing maternity wards, OBGYNs forced out, 3-month waits for mammograms. The reason? Frivolous lawsuits from out-of-control personal injury trial lawyers. And John Kerry and the liberals in Congress stand with those trial lawyers. They have voted to block medical lawsuit reform 10 times. And that's why our good doctors are leaving.
I'm George W. Bush, and I approve this message.
He stood with the big drug companies, signing their Medicare law, blocking low-cost drugs from Canada. And under George Bush, prescription costs are up 22%. He sided with the insurance industry as health premiums soared 57%. He asked oil lobbyists to shape his energy plan. Under Bush, record gas prices. 4 more years, America can't afford it. The Democratic National Committee is responsible for the contents of this advertisement.
They voted to raise our gas taxes 10 times and raise taxes on Social Security benefits. Higher taxes on middle-class parents 18 times. John Kerry and the liberals in Congress record on the economy, higher taxes 350 times, an average of once every 3 weeks for 20 years. Like clockwork. John Kerry and the liberals in Congress on the economy, troubling.
I'm George W. Bush, and I approve this message.
I'm John Kerry, and I approve this message.
On the economy, big differences. George Bush and the Republicans in Congress support tax breaks for companies that ship our jobs overseas. They've just raised Medicare premiums 17%. The cost of living is skyrocketing. John Kerry and the Democrats have a plan. End tax breaks for shipping jobs overseas. Cut taxes for middle-class families. Take on drug and insurance companies to lower the cost of health care. A real plan for the middle class.